But very quickly, he quickly frowned and realized he's not a good person either. I think you should probably touch your nose. Laughing, he looked at the teenager. Or we can negotiate. 4 of them were men. I will give you 10 medicines. Let them go, follow me. 10 things to listen to medicine. The teenager was excited again. With an evil smile. If you can get that much medicine, what else to do? Stay and find the medicine. Let's go with the 4 of them. I see him 0. The most colorful face immediately cooled down. Cold for an hour. This guy is also wanted by elephants. Thought and walked back a few cold steps the voice. Little brother, if you are the master of magic, I don't see you either. It's like the child doesn't understand. Your last words were to enslave us. Even teenagers can't hear what they're saying. Laughing coldly, he said he killed the arsonist and went to jail. A little slavery is worth it. Listen to him speak against his will. Maybe the face is not good anymore. Liver voice. It's like these are all for names. What does that have to do with us? Mathematics by species. You go with the 4 people. Certainly not a good person. Not a little punishment. The face is a little winded. Most likely, the teenager smiled contemptuously. I feel even more angry and cold. Although Lao Tzu, I don't want to mess with a kid like you. But see raw unavoidable. You must be hurt. You want to fight. The young man was not afraid of his warning. Laugh out loud to voices. Ha ha ha. Yes, but I have no intention of killing you. Give them 10 chances to fight. If you beat me once, I will let you go. Probably the most. I can't help but feel a horror in my heart. This kid is so calm. Maybe it's a sure win, so it's like that. The 4 demons are also afraid of it. Sure, it's not as simple as it looks. He looked at the 4 demons standing next to him. Raise your voice to ask. The strength of this boy compared to the old man is strong and weak. How much stronger if stronger? After a long pause, the killer finally spoke. This boy's strength is strong. I'm not sure I can beat that old man. Mainly this kid is very smart. I can see through our 4-headed battle. If not, how could we be defeated so easily by him? Dreaming of nodding. It's finally transparent. Maybe this kid has another trick. If you don't just rely on force, then Sao can capture and enslave the friction of the 4 demons. It's so easy. Thought. Then he looked carefully at the heavenly tears. He beat that boy hard with his tears. Don't hold back. The Lord's Prayer did not hesitate. On the hand immediately formed the handle. Force immediately focused on the hand. Shouting aloud rushed towards the teenager. Friction the first 3 subconsciously, that devotion to meditation. But the boy stood there calmly. There was no sign of fear on his face. Most probably I can't help but be amazed. This guy is pretending to be calm. If it's later. So how strong is this kid's power? It is also a desire to know. Like validating wise speculation. A horrible moment came in front of the teenager. He just gently lifted his hand. Drag Kwang immediately virtual hit to catch a glimpse of the heavenly tears. The best young man you can remember. This is the first chance. And words just gently turn your wrist. There's a loud bang. The surrounding rock was immediately destroyed. Even the earlier rock had been smashed. But the tears are buried in the rubble that the Kier teenager created. One moment Kier exploded. The 5 most beautiful people quickly fly people in the air to avoid being affected. Most certainly this time. Roll your eyes in fear. Look at the teenager in front of you. More than just amazement. Finally, how terrifying must this young man be? That Kier teenager this other time. Not a little hurt. Arrogantly look at them and speak up. This mountain is broken, and we go to another mountain. Waiting for you. Remember the 3 days. That's right, your 10 ingredients. Probably the world is not out of fear. There was a cold sweat on my forehead. 10 medicines, 5 products for teenagers. Medicine on hands. The teenager immediately happily laughed and said, "Your boy is fine. Find a little more medicine. Undefeated meat copper of 3 pine. We will reward." Adopted to 169 minor monster legends 300 years ago. She just finished her 3 words and immediately left. I can't see 3 in a blink of an eye. Most likely watching the boy disappear. Silently take a breath. Finally, the little pervert Kier also left. In his mouth he kept muttering the neck 3 pine. While he is doubtful. I don't know who this kid is. The sacred feast that rose from the rubble. It is impossible to think about the most important question. The butler, he told me he was an AI. Most likely, think for a moment. Repeat what the teenager said. He seems to call himself undefeated meekness of 3 things. Why, you know, lies. I heard this name. God's people are going to cry out in fear. Mom, I can't believe the old man is like this. Why are you so unlucky to meet that ghost? I left the house without seeing the zodiac. It is most likely in the eye. Enchanted man asked. After all, there are 3 gods. I don't wait for the police to respond. The 4 demons laughed. Of course, track steward shallow knowledge. To the first ghost undefeated. 3 years old and I don't know. I am most likely to hear this word. The corners of his mouth violently constricted, his eyes immediately sank. Said coldly, "You soon knew who he was. And you know his power, right? Of course we are the devil. Which player of the sky? We've never met before. As famous as this phantom head. Why we don't know. You think they don't know like you." The evil one laughed at the man who met the disaster. One party happily dancing and mocking the 2. Probably the most. Most likely, I heard him say that his anger was burning. 2 clenched hands into the right to speak again. So your villages deliberately lured me here. To fight this ghost head. The 4 demons once again gathered in a place to dance. Happy face ridiculed. Of course, that's what we are. Definitely not working well. We ourselves are pinched by that phantom head. So it's very frustrating. I don't know how to vent. No, but to make you suffer like us. Then we're much happier. More than magic. What do we do when we bet with others? There's something about integrity. And you believe it too. It's really stupid. Yes, 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 yes. Probably the best. This is the first time someone has played without even knowing it. This debt is good enough. He gritted his teeth angrily and said that you really are. That's great. The words in his hand immediately appeared. In the blink of an eye, on the forehead of the demon once again rose blood seal. I can feel the pain coming. The four demons screamed with their heads rolled on the ground. In my mouth constantly begging. It hurts so much, please forgive me. Maybe the butler won't dare us next time. Wrong, wrong, we're wrong. Our butler is wrong. Please forgive us. The old man must be the old man. Let us go, and we will not dare. You have to subpoena what your grandfather subpoenaed. God's mercy wipes the blood on his face. His face was a little unsightly as the four demons rolled on the ground. Fuck these idiots. Life is in the best hands. I dare to play some. It's about finding yourself dead. Something is suddenly involved. Unbeatable copper of the three most powerful pine in the sky here. It's the most annoying thing in the world. But most probably they don't stop. These four must be taught for good. If not, we might end up in a big city. Thought. Turn back to his doubtful tears or ask him. What kind of background does that 3-year-old have? It's so scary. The sermon slowly shook its head. Hold on tight, he said. I don't know much about this either. But I heard that these 3 pines are called invincible in the field. I have never lost in my life. 300 years ago, there was a big storm in the sky. It's driven the whole empire crazy. But in the end, it's hidden. No longer heard of. I didn't expect to see you here. I'm sure most people heard this screaming. What about 300 years ago? That boy. You look so young and so old. God is also very suspicious or shakes his head. I don't know about this either. The old man only judged based on rumors. If that boy is unbeatable, good-natured, it's probably over 300 years old. Or maybe it's the unbeatable, obedient offspring. Borrowing in the name of money. That's right now. The killer devil tried to hold back the pain of laughing. Hi. Years ago, undefeated ancient copper 3-pine wind swapping dance. How much the wind? He is called the strongest player in the universe. From the past to the present, maybe someone could borrow his name. And again, before. You've seen his tricks too. If not undefeated, you will do it yourself. Then, has your old man been defeated so tragically? The silent prayer nods. These 4 guys are messed up. The mind is not as alert as the words. They're very moral. If not the monster of legend. Unbeatable copper antique 3-pine. Then in this world, who could make him lose such a terrible battle? Most likely, he glanced at the 4 demons. He said coldly that he didn't know about the 3-year-old. Maybe you know? Of course, the old man is old. Maybe the Great War. 300 years ago. He's not born yet. He doesn't know what the hell. Murderous devils sarcastically laugh out loud. Probably the most annoying. Doubt or ask him. Don't know. You are no older than he is. How do you know? The killer devil once again showed a strange smile. The form of ridicule says he. Maybe your butler doesn't know. That year, her story broke. It's not just the humiliation of the Seven Kingdoms, but also the shame of the Celestial Empire. So his name Hugh was almost a forbidden word in the Empire. There are only 7 families in the world. It's about knowing his direction. Most of the elders are not mentioned, because they don't really have faces to talk about him. However, Max hit us without this restriction. Even before the sky's working. The old man also specifically asked a question. Is not to have friction with this little monster. We are so unlucky to ignore. Just escaped from the ban and ran into him. That's so bad luck. Already said, the devil seems to think of love. My own heart suddenly cries out. I'm sure you can hear this sound. Immediately feel great annoyance. Don't cry anymore. Tell me the truth. Clear. The 4 demons in a blink of an eye stopped crying and said that. Ask the butler to collect his magic. To make our minds clearer. Most likely, I looked at them. Sigh for an hour. Then the hands of 4 people no longer hurt. Excited to jump up. Most probably look at their unconverted expression. There's a little anger in hiding. But there's no other way. To say coldly, you tell me everything clearly. We wouldn't have calculated it before if we didn't. He hasn't finished yet. The 4 demons hurriedly told the butler to rest assured. We're going to tell you everything. We will not dare to deceive you later. As far as we know, the body of the unbeatable copper of 3 pine. It's so thrilling, it's so rare. Listen to hear. Most likely, I was in a hurry to ask again. What does that mean? The devil shook his head hard to be serious for a moment. His body is too thrilling. So much so that we don't know in the end. How thrilling is his body? His word just ended. My eyes were filled with fire. My fingers clenched their teeth again. Go and die for me. The devil saw him cry without tears. Hurry, wait, I'm telling the truth. The devil wants to use blood. Startled to stop track, the butler stopped. The old man said no wrong. What's the thrilling point of the 3 pine neck? We don't understand a damn thing about him. It's like he suddenly appeared in the sky. That's not it. If not with the power of 7. 3 villages and 7 families. Don't say a living person. Even a tiny ant can be investigated. Where is the nest? But this 3 pine neck. There is no place to investigate. That's not weird. His eyes softened. Most people think this word is a little bit true. A rare powerful little demon. Not knowing where he came from is suspicious. Unless. Right now. A thought suddenly flashed through his mind. Maybe he also came from the Holy Land. If you think about it, you should urge me to keep talking. Slightly nodding, the killer demon continued to speak. This guy just showed up. It already looks like that. It's like an 8-9-year-old. Something, he was only in the 5th heaven. But 300 years later, he still looks the same. Divai also only achieved 2 important illusions. It can be said that progress is extremely slow. But what doesn't change? That he's still the most powerful man in the universe. The only difference was 300 years ago. He's the #1 master of magic. And now the #1 player. In the ranks of the Emperor. Probably the most silent nod. If this monster doesn't use a large amount of practice to maintain a youthful appearance, how strong will he be then? Now I'm a little worried. Enemies like this, he still has no victory to contend with. This is a big hassle. 270, but most likely I suddenly thought of it. It is a little good to use Divai to maintain the appearance. Maybe at least have some fun and some fun. Think about here, I can't help but remember the peaceful time in the forest. Remember the shadow of the beautiful. Always wear a mask. He shook his head very quickly. Let's throw this thought aside. Let yourself wake up. What he wants is a career in the world. How can I be dominated by women? But you can't recognize it. In the heart of this moment, there really was a place for the shadow of the beautiful Kier. A position, and so far I haven't felt what it is. Thought. He turned to the devil and spoke again. That boy is very strange. He likes to swallow medicine raw. If you're a normal person, he died of strong medicine. It's been crushing meridians for a long time, but he wasn't hurt. There is a butler. Maybe you've thought of. He wants medicine, but he's impatient. Then in heaven. Which house has the most precious medicinal herbs? King 7 and the 7 kingdoms. Most likely, the eyes flashed and the mouth came out. And then it's like thinking about something. It was a strange smile that would. The word is not over yet. The devil laughed for 2 hours and cut off the fruit. The butler is not a good person. I am afraid the world will not rebel. But that's what it is. He went to the medicine garden of the King of Medicine. From mediocre medicinal products size to 3. To premium 6 food grade. Even to 8 drugs. 1,000 years to grow a tree. He was also swallowed by the boy. Then let the King of Medicine ignore him. So a group of elders wanted to arrest him. He was killed with a few fists. Talk about here. The devil suddenly pointed his hand towards the sacred ceremony, laughing and saying, the feeling of that fist. I'm sure this old man is the one who knows best. A little unsatisfied though. But the horror still has to be acknowledged. The power of the neck is very strong. She hasn't spanked yet. It was just a few shots that caused him to break his tendon. Injured all over. If the real blow. Maybe he was reduced to powder in the blink of an eye. Gone. This is basically the power of the time monster. This power never appeared in the life of the heavens. Together respect him. Most probably I can feel the thought. Shocking tears came to pat his shoulder to comfort. He turned to the 4 demons seriously. Then Sao. Don't wait for the devil to answer. The demon next door smiled contemptuously and said, Then the king of medicine asked for the king's help. The result of the king's elders. He was killed in the blink of an eye. The other three are also very arrogant. They're stealing medicine everywhere. The last assault. To plunder all the medicinal treasures of the 7 families. Under a helpless situation. The 7 families are always secretly fighting each other. We finally have to unite. To launch a wave of demonic devices, the most infamous in 1,000 years of history. Building the water of heaven. Most likely, he thought quietly. I can't believe the first wave of magic starts. What scares everyone is because she's 3 pine nuts. But even now, this boy is alive and well. After all, how powerful is he? I can't help but feel a little nervous thinking about it. Against the power of an empire. By the power of alone. And at the time, he was just a fantasy. It's so unbelievable. The devil mused for a while. Finally speak up again. The command has just been activated. All the ancient places 3 through. They were all killed by 7 families. Later, under panic. When they saw the child, they wanted to kill him. They also want to destroy. In lonely circumstances, no one helps and is hated by people. He began to have no heart to fight anymore. The magic command has achieved a certain effect. At least, it also extinguishes more than half of the monster's will to fight. Okay. The worst part of the world seems to have some sympathy. Because he's experienced that feeling too. Last year for some reason. After he killed the Kier bandits. Outsiders Dante even asked the reason. He opened his mouth to kill. Just because he's got a ghost on his head. Feeling lonely without AI help. It really makes people feel bad. So the shamanic practitioners can be independent. It's because they're psychologically trained. Even if you're alone, you also have the courage to face the world. It's like a psychological battle. Then a mass murder. The surgeon sighed the loudest. The next question is why? How did he break through the ghost? To turn into unbeatable copper today. The killer is a little surprised. Said with a flattering smile. High-track the butler is really smart. I didn't expect you to know. He didn't have the same title as he does now. Most probably shrugs and refuses to give an opinion. Shrug his shoulders casually. If you're isolated and depressed by others. With a mentality like that, even if he has more power, you can't claim to be invincible. The devil heard this. Nods and smiles. Haha, that's right. Then the boy. He had been forced to the end by the bow of the 7 families. Hungry people almost want to kill themselves. I don't know what happened after. That boy has changed completely. It's only been hidden for 3 months. Wait until everyone thinks that he can't take the pressure anymore. He took his own life. When I go everywhere looking, his body appeared again. This time is different than before. If before, he still retains the innocence of a child. This time he was completely transformed into the devil. What he did. Don't tell me to scare the 7. But even the 7 heavens can't sit still. That's the way we do it, the way we do it. Perhaps most surprisingly, he asked Oh. What did he do? The evil devil laughed again. Reveal the cruel curves, say. After he showed up again, he broke the news. He wants to destroy the universe. You are not asking to kill and isolate Lao Tzu. Whenever Lao Tzu passes through any city. So, if you go to any city, Lao Tzu will level it first. Wait for Lao Tzu to pass through the celestial realm. This empire is gone. The old housekeeper. You can think of the boy's power. Almost. His words are not finished yet. The devil immediately jumped up and cut him off. Almost a right that could have leveled that citadel. In the blink of an eye. Now, it's not just the 7 stupid countries. That all the worlds in the universe. They're all scared and terrified. Maybe in their hearts they want to cry. What does this have to do with us? We are also innocent people. Ha ha. A bunch of idiots. This just came up. The other 3 demons. It seems to be relentless. I hate not being able to help myself. The devil is dancing. Break the words of the killer devil. He glanced violently at one. Raise your hand and push him to the side of his fucking anger. The best part must be the old man. Probably the same. It was absolutely astounding to the world. The sacred ceremony is indisputable. The old man had heard of this boy's reputation. But I can't believe he's such a cruel person. They want to destroy an entire country. Probably the most contemptuous cold. In my eyes flashed a ray of light. He said that boy is determined. If we get into that, then we'll do the same. As for those who claim to be innocent, the moment they get their magic, without protesting against the senseless slaughter of the 7 kingdoms, he became a helper to the 7 families because of fear. They are no longer innocent. If you become the enemy, killed by an opponent, it should not be resentful. Now more and more I like that boy. And hearing this word is also true. Then look at him. Slightly nodding. Once, thousands of people shed their blood. This is basically what you can do. Of course, he is a great worker. The most likely time is to speak up again. Then Sao. Hear this word. The 4 demons are still fighting. Stop immediately thinking for a moment. The devil laughed again. Hee hee. Then it's even more amazing. He's a mirror for my shamanism. In a short period of half a year, the boy has kept his promise. Over half the celestial sphere. All the places he's been. The trees can't grow. Every time I hear his name, know he's coming. In a moment, everyone in the city will flee. The 7 kingdoms wanted to capture him. But real power is not enough, as many people die. That boy is thoroughly open to murder. All the places he went were ruined. That's why people called him Invincible Ancient Copper 3 Pine. In the end, 7 couldn't take it anymore. The 7 is getting more and more complicated. If they don't even act, the whole empire will be destroyed. He sent all 50 of the Imperial Dragon Guards. But right here, most likely startled, screaming, cut in. How many Dragon Guards do you think? The devil asked the opposite. It's a little bit of a surprise. How about 50 people? Receive a confirmation. Probably the most innocent eyes. He was completely unexpected. However, At that time Emperor 7 had up to 50 prophecy masters. It's like the sword of God. White music. 271 third person in the household of Long God Guard. It's like discovering the mind of the most evil. The devil is quick to say no. In the past, the standard of the dragon god returned to the Emperor 7, not as strict as now. There can be up to 50 people. As good as the sword god. Transparency nods. But most likely, I am still very impressed with the fighting power of the neck 3 pine. Even if there are not 50 jade swords. Then with 50 guards. Such a quantity, that boy can still get through. The power doesn't fit either. It's like not waiting for him to calm down. The killer demon spoke up. The 7th generation is also quite strong. There are probably about 20 players like the sword god. And again, the remaining 30 people are also Prodigy 5. The focus is up. Especially 3 of them. The name of heaven and earth is mixed 3 saints. The sword of God is much stronger. Even if it is unbeatable, it takes a lot of time. It's hard to win against 3 of them. Most likely, I can't help but be startled. They look at each other. I can't imagine screaming. The 7th king had such power. It's like seeing their minds. The devil can't help but laugh. The devil is even more contemptuous. More than 300 years ago, 50 households of the dragon god of Emperor 7 is the unbeatable existence. The emperor also had 100 wise men. The remaining 6 houses also have 10 prodigious masters. So the 7 families are balanced. But the battle with the neck 3 pine, the master of the 7 kingdoms, and protect the dragon god of 7, it was almost completely destroyed. Finally, there are only 3 saints left to fight. He is invincible. The battle lasted for a year and a half. It can be said that the earthquake. Then the 2 saints left. It's because physical strength can't sustain it. In the end, only saints remain. The strongest of the 3 saints keep fighting with the monster. But by that time, you've reached the limit. If that happens, both sides will get hurt. The best of the world at the same time. Roll your eyes. Open your mouth in amazement. Silently feel lucky. It's thanks to that unbeatable fellow. If not, to get lost in 7 worlds, don't talk in 15 years. Even 100 years is impossible. I think most people would ask the opposite, right? If that boy were alive now. The Holy Spirit is dead. But if so, why that boy? It hasn't been around for almost 300 years. The devil nods. Looking at the surest side, laughing. This is the last bit of wisdom. He knows that once they both lose, 7 is hard to resist. 7 families will share sand meditation dance immediately. So at the last moment, did he see that boy's childish nature? He knew life, so he cheated. Make a 1,000-year bet with him. He stood still. Endure the 10 fists of the Kier boy. If in 10 punches he doesn't die, the boy had to replace him. He became the dragon guard of Emperor 7. Protect the 1,000-year occupation of the Emperor 7th. Not even if he dies. The 3-year-old can go anywhere in the sky. No one can stop him anymore. Speaking of which, the killer demon suddenly jumped up. Showing a contemptuous smile, said, "Track the butler." He asked if it was the joke of the world. When that saint dies, The dragon god of King 7 has been destroyed. Who can stop the Kier monster?